We looked up and we could see the blue sky.
How we knew it was coming because we saw another person's house like up in the air.
I'm here live in Merrill, right around the corner from Northern Wire.
It just knocks down the entire forest.
It lasted just seconds, but the nightmare is just beginning.
Never saw damage like this.
It's just phenomenal, the damage it did.
It's very important that we get our community back to what it was before.
The storm ripped right through here, ripping homes from their foundations, leaving thousands without power, and causing millions of dollars in damage. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Groff.
And I'm Melissa Langben. But you know, not everything that happened here ended badly. A community did come together, and in a time of need, they worked together to work their way through it.
Join us as we take a look back at the path of destruction left by those massive storms, and watch as the community itself gets back up on its feet. You'll hear firsthand accounts from our reporters who watched the drama unfold before their very eyes.
And you will also learn how the National Weather Service actually tracked this storm and was able to warn those people who were in harm's way.
Plus, we look forward to the future of Merrill and the rebuilding process that so many have already started. First, let's take a look back and watch everything that happened on that Sunday night.
It's one roar and it was over with. It took about a minute maybe.
It has been 5 hours of watching and waiting as tornadoes move through this area, leaving a trail of damage behind.
You can hear behind me, some people are already taking a stab outside at some of the trees that have already fallen.
Truck flipped over, trees flying over on my dad's truck.
Extensive damage, of course. Homes lifted off of their foundations and scattered across the street.
And when the doors and the paneling started hitting us in the head, we didn't know if we were going to make it or not.
I talked with homeowners who say they barely made it to their basement before the tornado ripped through their homes and ripped them to pieces.
Then all of a sudden, the wind just started to turn, and all of a sudden the clouds started to drop.
Big pine tree snapped in half. We got the roof ripped off one house.
We don't know what we're going to do. I got to see what I can all find.
So much damage does remain to be found even yet at this hour.
They're working with the Red Cross to make sure that everyone has a safe place to stay for the night and in the coming days.
We've got the barn totally damaged. We've got a tree right through the back end of another house, and it's open up. They're going to get rain in there now.
People picking through wreckage feet from where their homes used to stand.
We're completely wiped out, everything.
Police are advising that people stay where they are at this point. They don't want people out scouting around.
There are more than 6,000 people without power around the area. The most of those people are in the Merrill area.
Crews are working to get power back up and running. It is going to be a very long night.
If you can't stay in your homes, they say that you can come to fire station number 1.
The damage is pretty good. The forest has been wiped out down here.
Glad this thing is over, but a lot of damage cleanup to do, and we wish everybody luck with that.
And we appreciate your joining us tonight, and hopefully tomorrow will be much quieter than what today was. Weather experts say that storms like the one that we saw in April actually only happen around here about once a year.
But with all the right conditions coming together at one particular time, Mother Nature can brew the perfect storm.
Well, the good news is the severe thunderstorms have moved out of the area. The bad news is it's still going to be breezy and windy tonight and tomorrow, and we're going to see a couple more showers roll through, but just kind of a nuisance more than anything hazardous.
The only other tornado damage I've seen that was this bad was from the June 7th tornado back in 2007, and it looked very similar to this. I was out fishing in the National Forest, and I came across a spot where I could not drive any farther. I couldn't even walk through the forest because so many trees were down.
The history of this line of storms, it developed right over western Wisconsin around 3 o'clock this afternoon. We did expect this, of course. We had that warm, humid, unseasonably summer-like air move in today with a strong cold front low pressure coming by. Lots of wind energy in the atmosphere. A perfect setup for tornadoes, high winds. We had quite a few reports of 1 to 2 inch diameter hail, even one report of tennis ball size hail over towards far western Wisconsin.
The roof comes off a house. You've got a lot of insulation flying all over, and this yellow insulation in the tree there perhaps is even from Northern Wire, which was hit over by the airport, which is probably a mile away.
Here's what it looked like around Wausau early this evening as some of these storm clouds are rolling through. Luckily, the heart of these storms actually missed most of the larger cities in our area.
We just don't know what's going on out here when we're sitting there projecting the tornado path, see where it's going to hit, and we don't know for sure if there's a tornado on the ground. and we just try and warn people the best that we can. And it's good seeing, it's good knowing that we help people stay safe out here.
When we come back, we'll show you what the community looked like the morning after the storm.
We will show you the homes on and around Airport Road, still cluttered with trees, toys, and debris, to the farms along Joe Snow Road with lumber ripped from the barn roofs. We will follow the path of destruction and watch as the rebuilding process begins.
But first, take a look at some of the pictures you sent in during our storm coverage. If you see something newsworthy in your neighborhood, take a picture and post it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Newsline9. As the hours ticked along on Sunday afternoon, our crews prepared to scatter themselves around the state, ready to bring you the furthest reaches of our viewing area. You may have seen some of those cameras trying to capture the scenes of the day.
Of course, we're human beings first and also journalists second. And as there were many emotions that were felt that day by not only the people that were affected by the storms, but our crews as well. Here's what some of our reporters had to say.
All of a sudden, we just turned a corner and there was just damage everywhere.
A lot of people are still in shock, wondering what had happened.
It's a testament to how powerful the storm was and how quickly it just destroyed everything.
And the next thing he knew, he looked up, he heard a roar, and then his roof was gone, and he was looking up at the sky. And just hearing how close he was to something so incredibly powerful, but still managing to survive.
This woman led me through her home in the pitch black with a flashlight, letting me use her bathroom. And it seemed like such a little thing to her. Like she couldn't believe that I even had to ask.
No one ever said, why me? What did I do to deserve this? It was just, okay, this is what's happened. Yeah, it was a horrible thing, but we're gonna pick up and we're gonna move on. The tornado in Merrill really made me realize how important it is to connect with people.
To have people open their home to you after they've gone through so much.
They were looking forward, not dwelling on what had happened. So that was really inspiring for me.
I thought that was amazing, that they were willing to do that. In their time of need, they were willing to help me.
If I were in that situation, I don't know what I would do. Where would you start? What would you go through first? They always talked about the support that they had from their neighbors and from their friends in their community. People driving hours just to come and help them, clean their yard.
When bad stuff happens, it doesn't matter if it doesn't happen to you, that you need to be able to help people. Because if it was you, you'd want someone helping you.
The storms destroyed homes, leaving some people with next to nothing. The homeowners faced a lot of challenges, but the next morning they got a head start on things. People on Pier Street started working during the early morning hours, cleaning up what was left of their homes. Crews cut down trees, cleared fallen power lines, and moved debris off the roads. Volunteers from all over the county offered their help, hoping it would make a difference.
A lot of teary-eyed, what is going to happen next, and it's really sad to see that, especially with people you love and care about in your own community, because you never think it's going to happen.
Homeowners said watching the community come together gave them the strength to keep on cleaning. Here's Airport Road. The storm toppled trees which crushed homes, even semis. The power lines fell, roofs ripped off, and some buildings simply obliterated. Workers found more damage at the Merrill Municipal Airport. A hangar collapsed. The strong winds damaged several planes, as well as the airport fence.
Now let's take you back to Northern Wire, where people spent the day after the storms figuring out what was left inside the building. The general manager said they assessed damage to the building itself, as well as all the machinery and finished goods inside. He says they found sheet metal hanging from the ceiling and water flooding the ground.
Get back as quickly as possible. Our intention is to get back as quickly as possible, but from our perspective, the needs of our employees' safety is first and foremost, and we don't want to introduce anybody in harm's way.
When the storm hit, 4 people out of the 160 employees were working inside the building. They were able to find shelter, the cement part of the building, and were not injured.
There were volunteers that pitched in and helped out. And Newsline 9's Courtney Fasano tells us about a group from Michigan that traveled here to make life better for people in Merrill.
Larry and Marilyn Baker say when the tornado ripped through Merrill in April, it damaged their home and flattened hundreds of their trees.
Couldn't see the ground because it was all trees.
I would just say that the whole thing was just totally overwhelming.
That's why dozens of volunteers from Michigan loaded onto this bus to lend a helping hand.
It just, I mean, if you were to be able to look around in different areas, I mean, it just looked like a disaster.
The National Relief Network and the Amway Corporation team up to send more than 40 volunteers to the area. Diana Vandam says they're getting their hands dirty to help get the Bakers' home back to the way it was before the storm.
Picking up all the sticks and the rocks, and so they can replant and get all the trees, replace the trees that were here.
But this isn't the first time this group reached out to help someone in need. Organizers say since 1993, they've been on the road cleaning up after natural disasters. Vandam says the hard work pays off.
Your heart just hurts for those people, knowing, you know that it could happen to you, and you just wonder what you can do. And if you just have hands, you can volunteer and help, and it's an awesome feeling.
And the Bakers say they're grateful for the help.
I think it's a blessing. It really is. They're just a great group of people.
To think that they would come out on days like this and work, words don't express it.
In Merrill, Courtney Fasano, Newsline 9.
It's easy to look back on April's storms with some amount of sadness. The tornado swept away some precious memories and lifetimes worth of hard work.
But through all the destruction, we have seen the triumph of the human spirit and the belief that even when times get tough, if we work together, things will get better.
After sounds of April storms died down, new noises filled neighborhoods in the township of Merrill. Cleanup efforts still far from over, but now people get ready to settle back down. One family on Airport Road already has most of its new house set, right on top of where the old one used to be. They get to keep some of the trim and doors from the old place, saving money and precious memories.
They've been bouncing around from place to place. I mean, they've been in a hotel room and then back into a house temporarily and then back to the hotel room, and now they're in a cabin.
The builders chipped in $2,000 for landscaping. That'll cover costs for planting a few trees after about 60 of them fell on their home this past spring.
We're functional, but it's just the repair stage, and the equipment replacement is going to take a long time.
The township saw most of the residential damage, about $4 million worth, according to Lincoln County Emergency Management. More than $6 million of damage fell on the shoulders of the business community, plus another $400,000 for other debris and road cleanup.
Up there 3 times already to kind of put band-aids on some of the leaks, and we've still got water coming in, so I think we're going to be replacing the roof.
In the city, the Mark needs a new roof. Bleachers and fences have to be taken care of. And just a mile and a half away, another fence needs repair work, this one at the airport.
We've had a serious accident out there before with a deer plane collision. God forbid we have another one.
Neighbors say things are better. Maybe not perfect yet, but at least on the right track. And builders say they're in it until the end, come high winds, high water, or even another tornado.
Our goal is to have them back in for school.
Sometimes it feels like the storm happened just yesterday, with the emotions and the feelings still very strong.
As we look back, we are reminded of the lessons that were learned, the friendships that were formed by so many of the people, those that were hard hit, as well as the volunteers that helped out, and also the stories that we shared through all of this. We wish the very best to those people here in Merrill, as well as those in Wood and Adams counties who suffered through these storms.
And remember, whenever severe weather strikes, you can tune in to Newsline 9 or find us online to get the very latest on weather alerts and updates around the clock. For all of us here at Newsline 9,
thanks for joining us.